Hello everybody and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. My name is Louis and we're here for the player ratings. Liverpool lose by 1-0 against Real Madrid in the Champions League final. Real Madrid claim their 14th record-breaking Champions League trophy. Never done before, never likely to be done for many, many years by another club. Liverpool lose out on a cup treble, on a 7th Champions League trophy, 3 finals in 5 years, 1 trophy won from that. And I'm incredibly conflicted on how I feel. I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at the world. I'm angry at the referee. I'm angry at the French police. I'm angry at everybody that was involved in what happened before the game. Horrific scenes sent to me on, videos on Twitter, on social media, sent to me as well. Some horrific scenes resulting in the game being delayed by 36 minutes. A horrific refereeing performance, as bad as any English referee would have done, to be fair. You know, I think there's a slight myth sometimes that European refs are automatically better. I don't know who the fuck that guy was. He was bloody dreadful. And that's it. You know, the season is over. And I don't mean that metaphorically, as in there's still games to play. I mean, that is it. The 21-22 season, which promised so much at points. 2 weeks ago, anything was possible. 2 weeks ago, a quadruple was potentially on the cards. Who knows what might have happened there? But, hey, it wasn't to be. Look, we'll get over it. We'll get over it. And Klopp's men will go again. But, Jesus Christ, when do we catch a break? When do these players catch a break? Adam, I've got to clickbait slightly. What I mean by shambolic, the shambolic part comes from what happened, what we saw before the game. Some disgusting scenes that should not be happening. And I don't want people to say should not be happening in Europe, should not be happening in France in 2022. It shouldn't be happening anywhere around the world. There's things much worse happening in other parts of the world. But for that to be happening at a football game in 2022 is just unbelievable. In a Champions League final, Paris selected to host this final, completely unprepared, completely not ready for what was going to happen, for the amount of fans that we were going to send over, which was incredibly obvious the minute that we beat Villarreal in the semi-final. There was estimates ages ago about how many we would send, and it was pretty accurate. 100,000, 50 to 100,000. And fans who brought tickets probably didn't get in to see that game. Now it's probably a bit of a relief. The game itself, we'll get back onto that. It's a player ratings show. We will do player ratings, but I just want to make sure that people have a chance to get involved and join, because I'm aware I've only just started and a lot of people have probably just sat there in disbelief, in silence of what's happened. I mean, look, ultimately, I can't have a tirade against these players. These players have played every game available. They've won us 2 trophies. They've taken the title to the last day of the season, the last 15 minutes of the season. And they got us to a 3rd Champions League final under the same manager. And I know we got a cup double. I know we won the Carabao Cup, and I know we won the FA Cup. And that is something to celebrate. But it just feels like it wasn't enough. It just feels like it wasn't enough. Oh. David Coleman hits on the back of the head. Not only did we as fans, plead, crave one of these trophies, but the lads, the boys, the players, they deserved more than that. Salah should have scored, but apart from that, he didn't have a great game. He didn't, for a man who in the second half of the season has been consistently pretty bad and been consistently not scoring and been consistently trying to convince the world that he's the best player, trying to convince the world that he's going to get his revenge against Real Madrid. I wish to any higher powers that are out there that he had kept his mouth shut. I really do wish that. I really, really, really do wish that. It's... You know, it's one of the horrific things that you come to realise as a Liverpool fan is that nothing, it's not about pleasing other people, for God's sake, but there's just no mutual understanding between us and any other English club. There's no supporters of any other club that I can get just at least an ounce of understanding or solace with. I don't have the luxury of being surrounded by Liverpool supporters where I live. And all that we are going to hear on social media is about the fans at the beginning of, at the start of the night. It's going to be all our fault somehow, even though I've explained it on the watch along how it's definitely not, no matter what anybody says to you. And I'll go over that again in a minute. And because of that, we deserve to lose. Because of that, because of shambolic planning by the French authorities, because of inciting reactions from us, because of propagating responses from us. Now, it's going to be, Liverpool deserved that. They hopped the fences when they didn't have tickets, which you don't know, can't prove at all. They deserved that because of the horrific actions of their fans, yada, yada, yada. And that's it. Referee should have given the goal for Benzema. Well, apparently not. The referees all agreed on that. There's obviously a rule there that you lot just don't know, that I don't particularly know either. It's just frustrating because we're not going to get love either way, and we don't need to be loved. Don't get me wrong, but when we win these trophies, it's like up yours. We've won it. We're the best. Fantastic. Now we've got to deal with the disappointment of losing to one of the most undeserving Real Madrid teams I've ever seen. Abysmal. Horrific way to try and play a Champions League final. Complete luck. Their one chance. And we couldn't convert any of ours. Ultimately, I don't think our players had a bad game. Ultimately, I don't think any of our players had a bad game. Maybe some average performances. Firmino is probably the outlier. I think he was pretty bad when he came on. Jota tried his best, worked his arse off, fought his way onto the ball. But it just wasn't to be. We'll go through the player ratings in a minute. I want to talk about the ref first. You could just call it from a million miles away. I said 5 minutes of added time. Bare minimum to be added on there. And we got that. Fair enough, because I don't think he could have possibly gone beneath that without raising some serious suspicions. 2 minutes. 2 flipping minutes of that extra time is a substitution and Courtois coming forward to take a free kick. 2 minutes. The ball was not moving. The ball was not in play. The play was stopped. And at 5 minutes, so we've only played 3 of the allotted extra, we have a free kick. He gives us the free kick in their half. One final chance, potentially, to get it into the box. And without hesitation, without... Oh, hang on a minute. There's been some stoppages. They can have this one. If I'm not going to add 2 minutes, they can at least have this one last chance, which they've earned by getting a foul. Nope, he blows it because Vinicius or whatever twat, shoots it long over Alisson. Time wasting. They time waste. The whistle clearly gone, and they've played a long ball miles away from where the free kick would have been taken. Goes into Alisson's net, and the ref can't be fucking bothered to hold them accountable. And that's that. That's that. There's no way you can convince me that Real Madrid deserve to win that game. There's nothing in this world that can convince me that Real Madrid deserve to win that. And you know, we've got all summer to ponder it. We've got all summer to ponder it. There is no Kiev revenge. Mane's probably on his way out. Salah is just in bits at the moment, abysmal form. And you know, we're it's just a massive shame. A massive shame to have to end it in this way, unfortunately. You know, the quadruple was always a pipe dream, as I said. When it came down to the final 15 minutes against Wolves, it was a bizarre day, wasn't it? It was an impossibility, suddenly became very plausible, and then, you know, just all turned around in the blink of an eye and we were back to where we started, but there was still that underlying frustration and just like, bloody hell, I can't believe this has happened. And it felt like it was leading towards, you know, a bit of redemption, not only payback for losing out on the title, but payback for, you know, Kiev. We'd improved our squad massively. Real Madrid have only gone backwards since then. And, yeah, it's just have it settled by one lone goal early in the second half. It's a crap final, isn't it? It's a really crap final. And if I had to sum it up in one word, it's deflation. Complete and utter deflation. And yes, Oliver Greer, I do remember you. Thank you for getting involved. Adam says Salah was a letdown today for sure. Well, let's do the player ratings. So 6 being the average. Alisson for me gets a 6. He didn't have much to do. Couldn't do anything about the goal. So there was no chance for him to impress either. He came out and collected the ball a few times, but he should have been getting to them anyway. And, you know, with that whole Benzema incident, it was kind of him panicking and making a bit of a blunder. So I can't give him anything above average, so I give him a 6. Trent, you know, people will blame him for the goal, and maybe it was just it was a moment, just a split second where he just lost sight of his. You saw it on the replay. He kept on looking over, like he knew he was there. I just don't know. It's just an inch perfect ball or what. Trent knew he was there, so I just don't know whether to blame him or not for that, or whether there's just nothing you can do in that situation. I don't know. Apart from that, though, Trent I thought was defensively sound. Attacking less so. I know I rate people very highly. I'd give him a 7 because I feel like defensively he was brilliant 99% of the time. And a couple of his deliveries did well, were good deliveries. Canate, no, right, Trent, Alisson 6, Trent a 6. I'll give Trent a 6. Canate, I'll give him a 7. Canate, I think, was pretty faultless all game. Completely bossed Vinicius Jr. whenever he had to cover for Trent. I think he did fantastically well. So, Canate, first ever Champions League final, debut season at Liverpool. You know, what a player we've got on our hands there. So that's a positive to take from today. Canate, solid 7 out of 10. Well, it's hard to do these without understanding what I'm going to rate everybody else because I need to make it consistent. Van Dijk, fairly average from him. Again, players don't really target him, so he doesn't have too much to do a lot of the time. I'll give him a 6. Robertson, didn't see much from him. Another pretty quiet display. No memorable balls into the box as far as I can remember, so I'll give him a 6 as well. Midfield, I think all just get a 6. They all just get a 6 for me. Thiago had some off balls, really off. Henderson, not great either. Pretty quiet. Fabinho, done his job pretty well. But it wasn't a game where the midfield needed to be won like that. It was just balls around the side and over the top. The front three, Diaz substituted early in the second half, pretty much. Give him a 6 as well. Because, again, I don't think anybody played particularly badly. Mane's probably a 6. Salah, I'm tempted to give below that, but I think he's a 6. So for me, Konate is our man of the match. Konate was the only person who really shone and didn't make any vital mistakes leading to a goal. You know, it's between Konate and Trent for me, but Trent ultimately did lose his man, and his going forward he wasn't that great. So I think man of the match is Konate. Substitutes, Jota gets a standard 6. Not much to work with, but worked his arse off when he was on the pitch. Keita, again, not great, not on for that long, 6. Firmino, though, from what I saw of him, Firmino is done. Firmino, I think we've got to get rid of him. We've got to try and just get some money for him. He's only going to get worse from this point. Gave the ball away unnecessarily. Never really looked in control. So, yeah. That's my player rating. So, Alisson was a 6. Trent was a 6. Konate a 7. Van Dijk a 6. Robertson 6. Whole midfield and whole of attack also gets a 6. Nobody was terrible. But nobody was that good either, apart from Konate, who really came into his own. Salah wasn't good, but he wasn't terrible. Could have scored potentially, and you know, he made those chances, so you've got to give him credit for that at least. Oh God, who would have thought the season would play out like this? We all knew it was a possibility, but you know, the West Ham result, 2-2. You think, right, there's still a chance of the league. And Real Madrid scammed their way. Real Madrid scammed their way to this final, and they've scammed their way to a Champions League trophy. And there's nobody but Liverpool fans who will testify to that in the history books. Yeah. It's a great shame. It's a really, really great shame. Jose, what's Jose said? Who do you think we need more, a forward or a midfielder? It's hard to argue at the minute that we don't need a goal scorer, like a central striker. It's hard to argue that right now. But, you know, Klopp will know exactly what we need. What do you think of Real Madrid's tactics of shooting the least amount possible and simply scoring goals? I think they are pretty lucky chaps. They won't see it like that. Nobody will see it like that. People will say we deserve it because of the way that what happened before the game has been portrayed, and because of the just general disdain for Liverpool as a club and as a city by idiots who are being completely shafted by higher powers, and think that the best way to feel better about themselves is, instead of, you know, coming together against a common enemy, is to instead shaft other people who they deem to be in worse off states than them. John Henry stands there disappointed, but never mind. I as soon as that whistle blew, I lost my shit and I closed that tab straight away. I cannot watch Real Madrid celebrate that like they deserved it. I can't listen to Steve McManaman go on like they played a tactical masterclass. I cannot stand it at all. I cannot deal with it. So yeah, I mean, we'll have post-match reaction for you very shortly, so do stick around for that as well. You've had my player ratings. You know, the only positive that can come out of this, and we'll go to the post-match shortly, but my final thoughts, the only positive that can come out of this is that maybe that can convince the people in power, Julian Ward, FSG, to just pull the trigger and get in some bloody people. Because if I don't know, we were that close, it could have just gone either way on the final day, couldn't it? If Aston Villa held out, if Real Madrid weren't so bloody lucky, we could have a quadruple. That's what it comes down to, really. But maybe in previous games, you know, the Brighton draw, the West Ham defeat, the Brentford draw, if we'd have just had one or two other world-class players, you know, but am I asking for too much? Am I being unrealistic? Is that FIFA brain? Is that a football manager brain? I don't know. I don't know. Sebastian says utter garbage that was. Oh, from start to bloody finish. From start to bloody finish. I mean, the game started horribly with what was going on outside, and it's finished even bloody worse. Ultimately, this isn't the most important thing. I hope everybody involved in what happened before the game is okay. I hope there's no stories of anybody being seriously injured. No, that's the biggest concern right now. But let's move on. Let's move on. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Thank you. It's been a long day. It didn't end the way we wanted, but we'll get over it. A couple of days, we'll get on with it. But the LFC transfer room will continue. I'm going to bring myself to do it. I'm going to bring myself to do a watch along for the trophy parade so we can come together then, hopefully with clearer heads, and see what happens. What time? Hang on, I need to Google this. What time does the Monaco Grand Prix start? Gets underway at 3 p.m. Oh, 2 p.m. British Standard Time. Oh, that's annoying. I would have watched that at the same time. Okay, well, never mind. But we'll watch the trophy parade, and then later in the evening, I think we'll have a season review or something like that. But we'll be here to act as your therapy session, get things off your chest and what have you. But that's the way it's ended. Liverpool lose the Champions League final. Second Champions League final defeat in 5 years, to Real Madrid. Shite Real Madrid side, crap referee, horrific officiating of the fans. The French police can kiss my arse. Thank you everybody for watching. Do stay with us. We'll have post-match reaction with a few guests on as well, so please do stick around for that, and we'll dive into a bit more. Hopefully a few people, bit more, well, not cheery, but you know what